Thank you for tuning into our seller interview series. Up today, we've got an Amazon FBA business for sale in the beauty and cosmetics niche. Created in May 2016, this business makes $2,260 per month in net profit, and the listing number for the business is 45167. We do these interviews to give potential buyers more information about both the seller and the businesses they're looking to purchase. We hope these insights are helpful for you in making a buying decision. We've got the seller with us today to go through the business and cover everything from niche selection to traffic and monetization. Mark, thank you for coming on here today. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for having me.
It is my pleasure. I'm very excited to discuss this business with you, but before we dive into the questions that I have, I want to go ahead and run through a little quick summary of the business. Again, it was built in May of 2016, has a monthly revenue of $15,157, expenses of $12,896 to make for a net profit of $2,260, which is generated on a 12-month average. Included in the sale of this business are the Seller Central account with 7 SKUs, domain and Shopify site content and files, Facebook account, supplier contacts, and SOPs. Please note that inventory is not normally included in the list price. Further details can be provided to active depositors. Mark, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Yes, I also teach people to sell online. I've had a long background in retail, primarily in bricks and mortar, as we call it, retail in the fast food industry, and decided to utilize that retail industry online. So I've been selling for several years, both helping other sellers and building an e-commerce business myself.
So then what about this one has made you decide to sell it today?
Largely because, as you can tell from my accent, I'm based in the UK. So originally, 2-3 years ago, when we were looking to get into e-commerce, the United States was the primary market for Amazon FBA sellers, and that a lot of the other markets were very much in their infancy, particularly the UK. So the right decision was to start and grow a business in the United States. But now I think, having moved on several years, I think the opportunities for me to build a business in my home market is now strong enough for me that I want to do that. I think the right opportunity for me now is to let my business that I've grown for several years in the United States, let that one go, as it were, and then my UK business.
So you want to sell this business so you can focus on something local in the UK with you.
Not in the same niche. I've got a business partner. She does the product selection. It's largely women's beauty products, women's skincare products. So it's obviously not necessarily a product area that I know deeply myself. I'm not obviously a user of the product. So I will be starting a UK business not based around beauty.
So is there a reason why you haven't explored, or have you explored taking this business and selling in the UK as well?
Yes, we have, but because the majority of our suppliers are US suppliers, the economics of the product mean shipping them from a United States supplier into the UK makes them no longer cost viable. The option we were looking at as an alternative to starting a UK business would be to have those products replicated with a UK manufacturer. But in the end, we decided to instead sell the business on and then build a separate, different business in the UK.
Mm-hmm. So then looking at the business as it currently stands, you mentioned that you have a partner who handles product selection and research. Can you detail what you and your partner, so the owners of the business, have to do to maintain the business and keep it running at its current level?
Well, when you look at how much time a business like this, an e-commerce FBA business, takes, generally it tends to break down into distinct areas. One is product development and one is general day-to-day maintenance. Now, general day-to-day maintenance is a very small part of what we do. It's, a couple of hours a week where you're looking at sales trends, looking at whether you need to reorder a product, answering any queries from customers. We have 7 SKUs, so it's not a significantly massive business in terms of day-to-day operations. The other area, of course, is product development, and that can be, depending on the stage you're at, that can be quite intensive, or it can be a small amount of time. So when we're looking at bringing a new product, and we've brought, I think it's 2 SKUs this year, one at the beginning of the year and one last few months. So during that product research phase, you're obviously looking at samples, talking to suppliers, doing product design, packaging, and that can be quite time intensive. So it's very dangerous to say it takes X amount of minutes, hours per week to run this business because it really depends at what stage you're in. I hope that makes it clear.
Yeah, and of course it's going to be different if you're adding new products or, you're just kind of...
If the buyer was to take this on and wanted to add, one SKU a month to this brand, then obviously, 90% of their work is going to be in the product development and, building those products. But the day-to-day maintenance of an FBA business such as this is very small because, as most people will know, it's largely checking that you need to reorder stock and answering any queries from either Amazon or from a buyer. And that's actually quite a small amount of time.
When you look back over the last year, you notice that some months, like for example, June and October and, January, February are lower than the other months of the year. Why is that?
We had a little bit of volatility when certain products were taken offline. These aren't the original SKUs, 7 SKUs that we started with 2 years ago. Some have been discontinued through changes in markets, changes in Amazon's policies regarding products, or our decisions to no longer progress particular products. So we found that as we've brought new products online as well, anyone familiar with the Amazon FBA business will know that to launch a product can be quite costly in terms of launch services if you use them, or PPC services. They can be quite costly to launch products, and therefore sometimes the occasional month, if it coincides with maybe a product being discontinued and then another product coming online with some very, very intensive advertising costs, and that can lead to poor profitability on a particular month.
And then the specific issue regarding one of the SKUs in October and November, can you talk about what happened there?
Which particular SKUs are you referring to?
The SKU that was under review and had, been taken offline by Amazon.
What happened with that particular SKU? It was an error with ours where the product was shipped into Amazon without the shrink wrapping. Normally our suppliers will, because it's a beauty product and it's a liquid, we would ordinarily shrink wrap all products so that they don't leak in delivery. Unfortunately, a batch of the products got shipped in without shrink wrapping, and obviously several of them got damaged in transit. And as a result of those, Amazon put the product under review. We immediately took action as a professional seller by removing all products, all outstanding products from Amazon, shipped them back to the supplier to have them shrink wrapped, and then have them shipped back into Amazon. And now the product is back up and running and selling.
So you've recovered from that issue then?
Yes, it's now beginning to recover. Just looking at the stats here, in the last 7 days, it's been our second highest seller of products. So we're investing a little bit of money, obviously, to remarket, because it had a little bit of several weeks of downtime. But we're having, we're recovering the product. Unfortunately, a genuine error that we hold our hands up to, but occasionally these things happen.
So you also have, in terms of outside Amazon presence, you also have a Shopify store and a Facebook page, correct?
Yes, the Facebook page isn't particularly active, but the Shopify store gets some sales, on a reasonably regular basis. Not significant. I would suggest that that's potentially an area that anyone looking to grow this brand could work on, which is to drive traffic to the Shopify site to grow sales and to expand the brand that way with other additional source of revenue outside of Amazon.
So growing outside of Amazon would obviously be a potential opportunity. Do you feel like there are any other potential opportunities for this business that you would take advantage of if you were to keep it?
Yes, if we were to keep it, then the obvious one would be to expand the range. One of the things that you will notice, obviously I'm not going to talk necessarily about the products individually, but one of the things that will be obvious when people look at the products is that they're quite niche. Even though they're in the beauty space, most people familiar with Amazon will know that the beauty space is quite competitive, and our products are quite niche within that. So my recommendation, if someone was to grow this brand, would be to firstly look at additional niche products. We've got a number of products that we researched, which we'd be happy to pass on ideas. That would be one area. The second area I would look at is to expand the off-Amazon areas. So perhaps looking at other sales channels like eBay, and obviously expanding Shopify, as we've spoken. And then the third area that we briefly mentioned before, which was to go outside of the United States. So whilst these products may not travel well to the United Kingdom in terms of costs, then there's other markets like Canada, maybe Australia might be an option, because some of our products do come from China. Some of our non-cream type products come from China. So there's an opportunity to expand into other Amazon markets.
Do you feel like there are any potential risks associated with this business that a new owner should be aware of?
The only risks inherent really in Amazon per se, which is that all the time that your business is entirely on one Amazon platform in the United States, then it's a risk in as much as you've effectively got one route of revenue. So the more you expand outside of the Amazon space, the more you expand to other platforms, the less risk. And then, of course, the other area is competition, which happens in all markets, is that as the market grows, then beauty in particular is quite a competitive space. But as I said in my previous answer, we are very, very niche in the products we've got. Our top seller has got only 2 or 3 other competitors in this space, which is quite unusual for a beauty product. Our second big seller has got no more than half a dozen competitors. So quite a niche product, and I think that's where you can de-risk it quite a lot, because there aren't that many people fighting for the same sales.
Mm-hmm. And then if you were to give someone advice based off of what you know with growing online businesses, you mentioned that you help people grow their online businesses, and now you have your own experience with this one. What would be the biggest piece of advice you have for someone getting started with their own online Amazon FBA business?
Probably the biggest piece of advice would be what I often tell people myself, which is don't necessarily focus or chase after the massively popular products, 30, 40, 50 a day sales type products. My advice or suggestion to people, they grow the portfolio to products that will do less than 5 a day. None of our products, our top seller does 6 units a day. Most of them do 5 or 6 units with a nice, good margin. If you can build a nice range or portfolio, if you like, of products, 10, 20 products that each do a small volume every day in nice niche areas, then that would return a very, very handsome profit.
Mark, would you commit to a non-compete for this business?
Yes, absolutely. As I said earlier, we're not necessarily interested in going into beauty anywhere else and looking at other niches.
How much support are you willing to offer a new owner during the transition period?
I wouldn't necessarily call it unlimited, but certainly I'm more than happy to support them for as long as they feel necessary. Obviously, it depends on the experience and the sophistication of a buyer coming in. If they feel they want a number of weeks, months support from myself, I'm more than happy to give that. This is a business that we've grown from nothing. It's it's something we know well, and we're more than happy. I'd like to see it go into someone who takes it and grows it into something it can become. So again, I'm more than happy to help someone on their way with that.
Are you open to negotiating on something like an earnout?
Yes, absolutely. I'm more than comfortable at looking at all options.
Awesome. Mark, thank you very much for taking the time to be here with me today. Before I let you go, my final question for you is, looking at this, given everything you know about online business, why do you feel like this is a business worth buying?
Because it's a business that's in a growing niche, particularly as it's online. It's in the products are very niche. They've got very little competition. It's in a growing area, and it's a very well-run business that hasn't used any tactics that are against Amazon's terms of service or anything like that. So it's a very clean account and done everything correctly. And it is a business that I think deserves to go into good hands so that it can become a substantial beauty business.
Thank you very much for taking the time to meet with me today, all the way across the pond over in the UK here.
Yeah, thank you ever so much for talking to me today.
If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. And if you want more information, the link will be below the video that will take you to this marketplace listing. If you're watching this on the listing page and want more information, become a depositor today. When you make the deposit, one of our business advisors will be in contact with you, and you will be given everything you need to review this business. Have a great day.